What if everything you learned about Earth was wrong? Today, I'm doing something nobody else has dared to do. I'm actually performing every single experiment that flat Earth believers claim proves the Earth is flat, using real science, real measurements, and no bias. By the end of this video, we'll have undeniable proof one way or another, and the results might shock you. Let's start with the most famous flat Earth claim: the horizon always rises to eye level. Flat Earthers argue that if Earth were a sphere, the horizon would drop below your eye level as you gain altitude. So I grabbed a high-quality level, a laser pointer, and climbed to the top of a tall building. According to flat Earth theory, the horizon should meet my eye level perfectly. But here's what actually happened. At ground level, yes, the horizon appears roughly at eye level. But when I went up 300 feet with a precision level, the horizon was measurably below the level line. I repeated this experiment from a mountain peak at 5,000 feet, and the drop was even more pronounced. The higher you go, the more the horizon drops. This is exactly what we'd expect on a spherical Earth. The curvature causes the horizon to fall away as altitude increases. First experiment, flat Earth claim debunked. Now let's test their second major claim: water always finds its level, therefore oceans can't curve. This is actually a misunderstanding of physics, but let's test it anyway. I took a long transparent tube, filled it with water, and held it level. The water surface was flat, as expected. But then I curved the tube, and guess what? The water followed the curve perfectly, while still maintaining a level surface relative to gravity at each point. This demonstrates that water seeks the lowest gravitational potential, not a flat plane. On a sphere, level means perpendicular to the gravitational pull at that location, which creates a curved surface over long distances. I also tested this with a large circular pool. Using a laser level from the center, I measured the water surface at various distances. Over a 30-foot diameter, the edges of the water were measurably higher than the center when referenced to a straight laser line, proving the water follows Earth's curvature even in small scales. Experiment 2, flat Earth claim fails. Let's move to one of their favorite arguments: ships disappearing over the horizon bottom first. Flat Earthers claim this is just perspective or atmospheric refraction. So I went to the ocean with a high-powered telescope and camera. I filmed ships sailing away from shore. According to flat Earth theory, I should be able to zoom in and bring the entire ship back into view. What actually happened? As ships moved away, their hulls disappeared first, then the masts, exactly as predicted on a spherical Earth. Even with my strongest zoom lens and perfect atmospheric conditions, I could not bring the hull back into view once it passed the horizon line. I calculated the distance at which ships disappeared, and it matched perfectly with Earth's documented curvature of approximately 8 inches per mile squared. At 10 miles, the bottom of a ship should be hidden by about 66 feet of curvature, and that's exactly what I observed. Experiment 3 proves Earth's curvature. Next experiment, the Bedford Level Experiment, a famous flat Earth test from the 1800s. This experiment involves observing a 6-mile stretch of water to see if there's curvature. I recreated it with modern equipment. I set up markers at 1-mile intervals along a long straight canal. According to flat Earth theory, all markers should be visible at the same height. On a spherical Earth, the middle markers should appear lower due to curvature. Using surveying equipment and lasers, I measured the height of each marker from the water surface. The results were stunning. The markers in the middle were significantly lower, creating a clear arc. The 3-mile marker was about 6 feet lower than it should be if Earth were flat. This perfectly matches the mathematical prediction for Earth's curvature. Some flat Earthers claim refraction affects this, so I repeated the experiment at different times of day and atmospheric conditions. The curvature remained consistent. Experiment 4, undeniable proof of Earth's curve. Now for something anyone can do: observing the shadow of Earth during a lunar eclipse. Flat Earthers struggle to explain this one. During a recent lunar eclipse, I photographed the shadow cast by Earth onto the moon. The shadow was always round, regardless of the time or angle of the eclipse. If Earth were flat, the shadow would be elliptical or linear depending on the sun's position. Only a sphere casts a round shadow from every angle. I documented the entire eclipse progression, and the shadow's curvature was perfect and consistent. This is observable proof that anyone with a camera can verify themselves. Ancient Greeks used this exact observation to prove Earth's spherical shape over 2,000 years ago. Experiment 5, Earth's round shadow proves its spherical shape. Let me address the flight path argument. Flat earthers claim airplane routes only make sense on a flat Earth map. I analyzed real flight data from multiple airlines. I flew from Santiago, Chile to Sydney, Australia, a route that flat earthers claim is impossible on a globe. According to the flat Earth map, this flight would be impossibly long, crossing the entire flat disk. In reality, this flight takes about 12 hours, flying over Antarctica and New Zealand. I tracked our position with GPS throughout the flight, and we followed the exact Great Circle route predicted on a spherical Earth. The flight distance, fuel consumption, and time all matched globe calculations perfectly. If Earth were flat, we would have needed to carry 3 times more fuel. Experiment 6, Flight Paths Prove Spherical Earth. Here's a simple test you can do yourself. The stick-shadow experiment that Eratosthenes used in 200 BC to calculate Earth's circumference. I placed identical sticks in the ground at 2 locations 500 miles apart on the same longitude line. At solar noon, I measured the shadow angles. If Earth were flat, the shadows would be identical because the sun's rays would hit both sticks at the same angle. What I found was the shadows had different angles, differing by about 7 degrees. Using simple trigonometry and the distance between locations, I calculated Earth's circumference. My result was 24,600 miles, remarkably close to the actual equatorial circumference of 24,900 miles. This experiment has been repeated thousands of times worldwide with consistent results. Experiment 7, Shadow Angles Prove Earth is Spherical. Let's tackle the star trail experiment. I set up cameras in both the northern and southern hemispheres to photograph star trails overnight. In the northern hemisphere, stars rotate counterclockwise around Polaris, the North Star. In the southern hemisphere, stars rotate clockwise around the southern celestial pole. If Earth were flat with a dome, star rotation would be identical everywhere. Instead, the opposite rotations perfectly match what we'd see on a rotating sphere. Additionally, completely different constellations are visible from each hemisphere. From Australia, I could see the Southern Cross, invisible from North America. From Alaska, Polaris sits high in the sky, but it's not visible at all from Australia. This is impossible on a flat Earth model, but exactly what we'd expect on a sphere. Experiment 8, Stellar Observations Confirm Spherical Earth. Now for the gyroscope test. Flat earthers claim that a ring laser gyroscope proves Earth doesn't rotate. I used a precision mechanical gyroscope and later verified with gyroscope data from phones. A gyroscope maintains its orientation in space. If Earth rotates beneath it, the gyroscope appears to drift. Over 24 hours, my gyroscope showed a 15 degree per hour drift, exactly matching Earth's rotation rate of 360 degrees per day. This drift rate changed with latitude, strongest at the poles and weakest at the equator, precisely as predicted on a rotating sphere. This is the same principle used in airplane navigation systems. The drift is real, measurable, and consistent with a rotating spherical Earth. Experiment 9, Gyroscopic Drift Proves Earth Rotates. Finally, let's discuss gravity versus density. Flat earthers claim objects fall due to density, not gravity. I tested this in multiple ways. First, I dropped objects of different densities in a vacuum chamber. A feather and a hammer fell at identical rates when air resistance was eliminated. Density didn't matter, only mass. Then I used a torsion balance to measure the gravitational attraction between 2 masses, demonstrating that mass attracts mass regardless of density. This is gravity, not density sorting. I also calculated the surface gravity needed to accelerate objects at 9.8 meters per second squared. The mass required matches Earth's measured mass perfectly. Density alone cannot explain why objects accelerate downward at a consistent rate, why we have weight, or why satellites orbit. Only gravity explains all these phenomena. Experiment 10. Gravity is real and density doesn't replace it. So there you have it. I tested every major flat Earth claim with real experiments, real data, and real science. Every single test confirmed what scientists have known for thousands of years. Earth is a sphere, it rotates, it orbits the sun, and gravity is real. These aren't opinions or beliefs, they're observable, testable, repeatable facts. The beauty of science is that you don't have to trust me. You can perform these experiments yourself. Science welcomes questions, testing, and verification. That's what makes it reliable. If you found this valuable, subscribe for more real science experiments. Share this with anyone who needs to see actual evidence. And remember, truth doesn't fear investigation, it invites it.